Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about 7 tips to be successful selling your home. This does not mean FSBO.
No.
Okay, no, this is not FSBO. This comes from the experience of thousands of just representing sellers that we've done. We've had these conversations thousands of times with individual people. Sometimes we actually have to repeat them like 4 or 5 times for them to get it up here and understand what we're saying. I don't know why they don't believe us.
Well,
Okay.
We're going to go through them. And, please leave us comments. What other tips do you think are helpful for sellers to get their home sold? So we'll get started.
And also put in the comments if what's the weirdest thing if you've sold a house and you had a weird thing you had to do to sell the house, like something bizarre.
Okay, so can I?
Like tacos, like you had to give like a year's supply of tacos because you owned a taco shop, or you had to give them like free dinner at your Mexican restaurant every Friday night for a year or something.
Okay, so I actually had one where the seller buried a statue in the front
St.
yard.
Joseph's.
Yeah.
Yeah. St. Joe's buried upside down.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I don't really understand that, but
Okay, yeah.
okay, but that's not one of the tips. So hang in
Okay,
there.
that's not one of the tips. So don't write that down. If you wrote it down, put a line through it. Okay?
We're not suggesting that.
It's not. If you put that on the final exam, you will not get credit for it. Okay? Okay, number 1. This is a very important one. House in good condition.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So that means, look, you live in the house, you know what works and what doesn't. So if it doesn't work, fix it. If it works intermittently, fix it. If it creaks, if it cracks, if it makes bad noises, fix it.
Flickering light bulb. Replace the damn bulb.
Yeah, so fix it. That toilet flapper, replace it.
Yeah, the toilet just makes a little leaking sound.
Yeah.
Replace it so that when it's not, they can't hear it leaking.
Change your air filters. Just simple things like that. Make sure that the faucets don't drip. If you have rust around your faucets or around, any of your fixtures, replace them. Make sure the house looks that it's been loved and well cared for. So that's what we mean by a house in good condition. Maybe you need to paint rooms that your children have been creative in. Yeah. Maybe you need to paint maybe you need to replace flooring in a room that really has gotten a lot of wear and tear. It doesn't mean that we're asking you to completely do a renovation, but we are asking that the house look in presentable condition.
We're not talking about full remodel or anything like that. We're just talking about the existing home being good condition.
Yes.
Okay. This is also very important. The second one, list price needs to be realistic. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why is that?
So a couple of reasons. First of all, the list price needs to be realistic because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, right? So that means that first initial blast that goes out to everybody with a new listing, that is your first impression. If your price is completely out of the ballpark, people are going to not ever look at your house. And if they don't come look at your house, it's unlikely your house will sell quickly or for the kind of money that you want. Because what happens is then you start having to reduce your price over time. So then people think, well, what's wrong with the house? Nobody wants it. And then the more you reduce your price, then when you do start getting offers, you're going to get lower offers than you would have gotten had you come on the market at market value.
Okay, I'll give you an example that hopefully you will get to understand. Okay, there are people that are in any market that are waiting to buy, and they're looking at homes as they come on the market. Okay, now let's pretend you have a house that should sell for $365. We'll just say $365 is the price, right? But you want $400,000. I'm going to put it on for $400,000. Okay, so you put it on for $400,000 in the MLS, even though $365 is about what it's worth. Here's the problem. First of all, the people looking at the $365 are probably looking $350 to $375 range. They're not even going to see your house. You're going to miss all those people completely. Like they're not even going to see that it's possibly a house. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to alert the people looking at 400 and above, say 400 to 425, and they're going to see your house and go, this is worse than all the other houses. It's smaller, it's not as nice, it's not in a good neighborhood. They completely disregard it. So the people that are looking at homes that are actually worth more money, by comparison, it's terrible, so they ignore it. And then the people you're trying to attract, that you missed them. Then you price it, yeah, but I'll do the price reduction. But the price reduction doesn't alert people. It's the people get the alert, the agents, everybody else, when the thing comes on the market. That's when the big notifications. A lot of people don't have any alerts for price changes. And if they do, usually it's the home's been on the market so long, and the homes, like Oana said, are disregarded. And this is legitimate. Like
Right.
we see this all the time.
So what we call an overpriced listing is what people use to sell other listings.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, like Todd said, the people looking between 400 and 425, they're going to look at this price, at this home that is priced at 400 that should be at 365, and they're going to use that to justify buying another home because they're getting a good deal compared to this one at 400. So don't be the house that is selling all your neighbors' houses.
People use comparison for everything, and if you're in the wrong pond, you're not going to sell. Okay, this focus on curb appeal.
Curb appeal is so important because remember, we do judge books by their cover, and we absolutely judge homes as soon as we pull up the street. It is not uncommon for buyers to pull up to a house, look at it, and not even go inside because they look at it, go, no, don't think so, and keep going. So you don't want to be that house. You want to be the house that they pull up and they go, wow. So that means make sure your front yard looks nice. Maybe put a fresh coat of paint on that front door. Maybe some new flowers in the front yard. If you have shutters or anything like that, get those painted or cleaned up. Make sure your windows are clean. Clean windows speak of a clean house, of a well-kept house, plus they allow light in the house. So once they walk in, they'll have a much better experience in the house.
And then cobwebs, the whole thing.
Of course.
Around the door.
The
handle, make sure the handle's not dirty.
Right. Make sure the gutters are clean. All of those things, they go to that curb appeal.
It's so emotional.
It is.
There's so much emotion with pulling up in front of the house.
Right. If you have one of those mailboxes that's right in front of the house, make sure that your mailbox looks nice. I know it sounds crazy, but make sure your mailbox looks nice. If it needs a coat of paint, paint it. I mean, just get a can of spray paint from Walmart for $3 and paint that mailbox. It makes a big difference. I've seen people buy a house because of the mailbox, because it had a cute mailbox. It's the craziest thing, but it's true.
People are irrational.
Yes.
They're very irrational. Okay. Accommodate showings, meaning make it easy for showings to happen. Why is this really important? We've been through this ourselves.
Right. So a couple of things. First of all, when you're going to put your house on the market, have a plan. Know that, hey, when the house is being shown, this is what we're going to do. Either we're going to go walk the neighborhood, and we know that it takes us 20 minutes to do a full lap around the neighborhood, and that's probably enough time to let them see the house, or we're going to the next door neighbor and we're going to go hang out with them for a little while. Whatever your plan is, make sure you have a plan so that when those agents call and maybe they're going to want to show your house on short notice because maybe they weren't expecting to be showing houses that evening, but all of a sudden the buyer's available and they want to see your house. Make sure that you have a plan and you make it easy for them to show your house. If possible, make sure that you have an electronic lockbox on the house so that they can let themselves in. You want to make everything as easy as possible. If you know that they're coming to visit your house and they're 15 minutes away, leave all the lights on, make sure everything's picked up, and leave the house. Take the pets with you, take the kids with you, go for a walk, go visit grandma, go to the grocery store, whatever. Just get out of there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then come back so that they have the opportunity to walk around the house and check it out and be able to have a conversation in private and do things that maybe they wouldn't do with you around, like opening closet doors or opening cupboards, so they can check out the space, so they can see themselves in the house.
I'm going to put 2 exclamation points on this.
Okay.
One is, imagine this. The person coming in that would probably pay you the most money for your house is coming into town for one day to see 5 houses. Yours is one, but it's not convenient for you that day because you have this ridiculous requirement. You have to be there and you have a kid's soccer game for 3 hours and you can't be there, and that's the only time they can view it, and you say, no, forget it, then don't see it. Like, you just literally, it's costing you a ton of money to do that, okay? Here's the second one with regards to what Wanda said about not being there. Not only don't be there, don't even let them see you leave. Don't even let them see anything. Buyers get extremely uncomfortable if you are anywhere near the property. Even if you just walk outside and are walking around, it makes them very uncomfortable. And they will remember that feeling. And then they'll later on, they'll be like, God, there was something about the house I didn't like. Mm-hmm. And it's that feeling. Remember, buying is a very emotional decision. You need to get out of there. Just be gone. They should walk in, and just see the house and not see the person that owns it. Mm-hmm. That's a hugely thing. I can't stress that enough. Right. Okay. The next one, very important one, transparency and honesty.
Yes. So, be honest with people. You're going to have to fill out disclosures regarding your property. And, we talked about before about the house being in good condition, that sort of thing. Maybe you can't fix certain things, and that's okay. Go ahead and put them on the disclosures. That's fine, but be honest, because what you don't want is you don't want that buyer to find out halfway through the transaction about something and then they're going to back out, because now you've lost other buyers while your house has been under contract. So be honest with people. Treat people fairly. Treat them the way you would want to be treated. It's really important, because in the end, if you don't, it will cost you money one way or another, either because the buyer backs out and you've lost time on the market, or because the buyer asks you for concessions, they ask you for money, so now you're losing out again, or even worse, you didn't disclose, they close escrow, and then they find out later that you knew. So we had something like this happen where the house had a pool. The new buyer kept the old pool company to service the pool and found out that the pool leaked.
And it was a ton of money to fix.
Right, the pool leaked. And the pool guy said, oh yeah, he knew. I told him that months ago. Guess what? That didn't get disclosed. The pool company had told the guy. And now the buyer could go after the seller for not disclosing this. And depending on the laws in your state, that could be really expensive. It could be more than the cost to fix the pool. In Nevada, it's 3 times damages. Yeah. So if the pool costs $5,000 to fix, now you're on the hook for $15,000. And would have been cheaper to disclose it, not even fix it, but disclose it so he knows. And if you've got an estimate for the repairs, share that with them. And maybe you have to kick in some closing costs to cover some of that, whatever. But be honest. Treat people fairly and honestly.
This does not mean disclosing personal stuff about your situation.
No.
Your reason for selling or whatever. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about physical aspects of the property.
Right. So the disclosures only have to do with the property. Remember, we disclose everything about the property and nothing about the people.
And if you followed our advice about not being there, you're not having these conversations directly. Mm-hmm. With the people, okay? All right. Make it a win-win situation. Mm-hmm. Give us an example of how it could be win-win.
Okay. So my idea of a win-win situation is your price, my terms, your terms, my price. Everybody gives a little, everybody wins a little. That's a win-win situation. In a situation with the pool. Okay, I can't fix it. I don't have $5,000 to fix the pool, but I'll give you a credit for maybe $3,000 because I understand that the pool needs to be fixed. Now the buyer gets a credit for $3,000 and then he can fix it after close of escrow. That's a win-win situation. I get a little bit, they get a little bit, everybody's good.
Yeah, okay. The last one's probably one of the most important ones. It's choosing your agent with care, or actually picking a good, decent agent.
Absolutely. So pick an agent that understands your situation, understands the market, and that makes sense. There are a lot of agents out there that will buy your listing. And what I mean by that is, let's say, like in Todd's example, your home is worth $465,000, but you want $400,000, and they will list it for $400,000 because they're buying your listing. They know that your home is worth $365,000, and they know that when you put it on the market for $400,000, you're probably only going to get $350,000 because by the time all the price reductions are done, that's where you're going to end up. That's buying your listing. That's somebody who doesn't have the integrity to be honest with you and say, hey, this is not good for you. The other thing is somebody who is willing to, take a huge haircut on their commission. So if they're not going to fight for their own livelihood, how are they going to fight for getting you the most money for the house? Think about this. If they're not a good negotiator for their own money, how are they going to negotiate for you? So those are things to kind of keep in mind. And I understand that you want to pay the least commission you can. I appreciate that. But I also appreciate the fact that you want somebody who's going to have integrity and who's going to have the skill to negotiate for you and get you what you want. So this is really important for you to kind of keep in mind. Kind of like I said before, it has to be a win-win situation, and it has to be somebody that you trust.
And if you're in Las Vegas and they haven't sold at least 3,000 houses, do not hire them. True. Okay, this is a true story. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. We were one of 4 agents they were interviewing. We went, met them at the house, looked through the house. We showed them the comps. We were actually the last person that they met with. Mm-hmm. We said 375. Houses were 3 sold at 375. Your house were 375. You're not going to get more than 375. Your house, just like all the other houses, at 375. They said, well, the other 3 agents said they wanted to list it at 400. And we're like, well, they're buying your listing. They're just trying to give you a big number, and then they're going to just waste your time and have to do price reductions. You're not going to get more. You're just going to spend this extra time. It's not going to really net you any more money. And then we showed him that, like, we had this list. It's like a stack of papers this high with, like, each one had like 40 addresses on it. And we just said, hey, look, these are all the houses we've sold in the last, I think it was about 10 years, and it was well over 3,000. And he goes, oh, yeah, I've heard this. This is your whole office. We go, no. This is just us, because we were there together. We said, no, this is just us. We sold all these. He goes, okay, well, and I left the list. I go, look, here's the list. You don't believe me? Go on the internet and start typing these addresses in. Probably on Zillow and old properties, you can probably find that we were like the listing agent on all these properties. I'm just going to leave this here so you can look at this. You get an idea of what, we know what we're doing. So like 2 days pass, we don't hear anything back, but we notice it hasn't shown up in the MLS. And he calls me on the phone, super mad, and he goes, I just want to tell you that I did the math, and the only way you two could have sold that many houses is you would have had sold a house every single day, including on Saturday and Sunday, for the last 10 years, and I don't believe you. I said, well, okay, I don't know what to say then, right? So I hung up. I told Oana, hey, I don't think he's going to list the home with us because he thinks we're lying to him. And then, like 2 days later, he called us to list the house. And it was the most bizarre thing ever, but I think ultimately he just understood that the other agents couldn't do that. Really, there's almost nobody that can do that that's still doing real estate. And just to be super honest with somebody and tell them, hey, I have one more story. Can I tell the one more story?
Go for it.
Okay. Agent wants to sell, or a person wants to sell the house. She's interviewing 2 people. She's interviewing a person that a friend recommended, and she's interviewing me because she found the YouTube channel and she watched the videos. So I go to the house and she says, okay, here's my house. This is everything about it. I've already talked to this other agent, and the other agent thinks it's worth like $275. Like, she wants to list it at $285, but she thinks it'll sell for $275. And those were the exact numbers. And I said, that's interesting. Okay, then let's do this. Why don't so you think you're going to get $275? And she goes, yeah. I go, okay. I go, how about this? I'll just pay I could pay cash right now for your house, $275, and I'll just buy your house for $275 and not charge you any commissions. You'll net more money than you would have got by $275 plus commissions. And she got this kind of look in her head, on her face, and goes, why would you do that? And I said, your house is worth $310. I'm going to get you $310. I'd like to list it for $325 because I think you're in kind of an older neighborhood that has some sentimental value. And even though the comps are kind of all over the place, $325 is like, we might get it. But the reason why I'm telling you I'd give you $275 is I'm going to buy your house for $275, and then I'm going to put it right back on the MLS for $325. I'm going to sell it, put the difference in my pocket. That's why I would do that. So if you want to go with this other agent, go for it. But your house is definitely shouldn't be listed at 285. So she went with me. We listed for 325. We sold it for 315, and they bought it out of like their 401k or IRA or something. So they ended up basically paying cash for it at 315. She netted a ton more money. It was actually kind of a big deal when the whole thing went down. That she was like really like she got a lot more money than she thought she was going to get because the other agent just was guessing on the price and she just said 285. List for 285, get 275, and the homeowner was like, I'm fine with that. But this, in the case, that was not the example. And the reason is I just done this more.
Right. So, we understand that there are lots of resources out there for you to gauge what your home is worth. And we encourage you to look around. And yes, you can look at Redfin and Zillow and all these places, and that's great. And that kind of gives you an idea. But remember, the most accurate way to price your home is actually with an agent who, at the very least, has done the homework as far as what homes like yours are on the market for or have sold for recently, has actually looked at these homes and compared them to your home, because that's what a buyer is going to do. Because remember, buyers are out there. They're not just looking at your home. They're looking at your home and everybody else's home that's on the market, and they are comparing all these homes in real time, and buyers know what your home is worth compared to everybody else. So that's why it's important that you do work with a really good agent who understands the market. And yes, like I said, I know that you guys like to look at all the online estimates, and that's great because it gives you an idea. But the most accurate way to know what your home is worth is to work with an agent that you trust, that does their homework. It's like anything else in life. Do your homework, right? Because that's how you're going to get the most accurate estimate of what a buyer is willing to pay for your home, because that's what your home is worth. Your home is worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it and what you are willing to accept.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So how was this? What tips do you have for home sellers? Did any of these tips help you? Give us some feedback. We love listening to what you say in the comments. So we look forward to your comments. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.